Damn, man, you're at work too. Like, that was so funny, man. Smell smoking this dude.
All right, I mean, that should work. I think we're good right now.
It should be in Atlanta. Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
I'm just
perfect.
making sure that it's recording both of our videos at the same time right now. Yeah,
All
it
right,
is. Okay. It has me nervous.
man, you straight.
Because
All right, let me.
when I click on the OBS thing, it like takes our picture away real quick. But no, I think we're good. All right, Heisman. Alrighty, and yeah, we're recording right now. So
Let me hop in and do my thing. You gotta get the film off, and I'm sure you'll figure out how to like sync it up to look good. I'll do that thing. All right, so man, you good?
yep, I'm good.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast. Talking college football with my guy, Tyler Moore, in about 15 minutes. And tonight is a whole different type of episode. We are going to live stream our simulation, aka me and Tyler going head to head in the national title game of Notre Dame versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. So pretty much what we're gonna do is we're gonna play our games, talk through the podcast as we normally would. If you guys like the video or like the content, hit the like button, hit the sub button for a bit kind of like this one. Pretty much what we're going to do is recap last week, get into our preview of the national title game for you. My dude, what is up, man?
Not much. There's a lot going on here. We're using Discord. I got my remote play going on, so I can play this on my computer and do this at the same time. So if there's some technical difficulties, I apologize, but this should be really fun, and this is kind of a new format for us. So I'm excited to get this thing kicked off.
For sure, man. Playing on Heisman. Look, unfortunately, man, you're my dude, but I gotta see how you lose, man. The Natty in real life and on this thing. So believe me, I'm going for the tip tonight, man. So real quick, I did want to recap. It's been about 10 days since we last on the podcast, talking about football. Um, but real fast, man. What were your initial thoughts on last week's game? You guys had Texas schedule seemed pretty smooth and easy. What's your thoughts on the against Texas last week?
Yeah, so Texas Ohio State, and we knew it was going to be a battle for most of the game, and it was going to come down to which defense was able to stand because those are two top five defenses in the country. We've seen it throughout the entire year. I don't care if Texas didn't play a top 25 team, yada yada yada. But they have ball hawks flying around in the back end, and I think Ohio State shot themselves in the foot early, kind of let Texas hang around, and I think if like the holding penalties and the personal foul by Travion Henderson, if that stuff doesn't happen early in the game, and they don't get behind the sticks, I think that game is a lot different than what a lot of people think it is. And I just think there was that stuff for Ohio State. They're just so overwhelmingly different than anybody else. The speed the speed at wide receiver, the speed at running back we saw with Travion Henderson, just taking everything to the house right away, and it was just overwhelming for Texas. And the big thing for me was when Texas is going down into to score to maybe try to tie it up, we hear that Ohio State is a second ranked defense in the country, red zone defense, and that Texas offense is 106 in the country. It didn't bode well, and it showed up. And Jack Sawyer, one of the heart and soul players of the Ohio State defense, he made something that's going to go down in Ohio State history, and it was a really good game. And I can't complain that the Buckeyes are moving on to the national championship.
Nah, man. I mean, I think they've been one of the more complete teams in the country for a while, and I always talk about that game. I sit on almost every week, but the turning point had to be the end of the State. Which is a good segue into the game. That's about Penn State versus you know Notre Dame. And the game was what I thought it'd be. It'd be like a low scoring game. Great defense at display. So you knew kind of what was going to happen a little bit. We got a little bit of a late story. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I really was hoping for Penn State to win this game, and I'll talk about that more in a little bit. But I think that's kind of what happened. I think as they got behind, Notre Dame they fought back, and I didn't think that they could, but it happened with a little bit of drama as well. You saw Leonard Conquest made a discussion that he was like magically better from soon after. But credit to Pete Andrews, walking in a tough spot, having something that get some points. He was able to do that, give him a field goal before the half. The opening drive, man, of the second half, it was just like boom, 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 and it wasn't like throwing the football. It was like chunk play in the run game here, chunk play there, chunk play here, and before you knew it, it was tied game. And I think that's kind of where the game changed a little bit. Once the game got tied, you saw the quarterback have to be front and center and kind of win the game for their guys.
Yeah.
One guy did it. One guy did it, and that's a huge difference right there. With the quarterback, it does suck because I know you even as a Ohio State fan, we talked a lot about Drew Aller and him as a quarterback, him as a prospect. That pick you through, it hurt, man.
Yeah.
It hurt. It hurt,
Yeah.
and
We
it's sad because yeah,
No, no, it's like we talked about it a couple of times throughout the season. Drew Aller, uh, he's I think he's better than his pieces parts around him, like we've talked about. You didn't have any receptions to his wide receivers. They weren't getting open. They run bad routes. That interception he threw at the end, that was a bad route. It was a lackadaisical route, and it's one of those things where we talked about it. He only has those running backs and that tight end. That's how their offense runs. They don't have those outside weapons, so I mean, you can basically play everything inside the field, and that ends up hurting them in the end because they don't have any threat, like they're about to see coming up here, and so it's you know I, Drew Aller, like I said, I thought Penn State was gonna make it to the national championship. He was my pick to be the MVP of the playoffs. It just sucks to see him go out like that, but that's big game James Franklin for you, I guess.
yeah, man. And you know what's funny is when you watch that game, you look at the parts. Like so I think about the parts. I think about how it is. Their comeback was pretty much relied upon by using guys such as I mean, it was the running back, right? Like the running back that's back in the game. Kayvon Allen, Nick Singleton, and Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren went off. I mean, he had a nice day. He had 6 catches, 75 yards. But I think the composure of Ryan Leonard also during the game is what kind of made a difference. Finding his receiver, Jaden Greathouse. I mean, he went over for 100 yards, which again, that's what happened. That big touchdown catch for 55 yards or so, that kind of changed the game and it gave him confidence. But it comes down to, and you can kind of feel maybe the rest a little bit. Um, sure, but I think ultimately, man, the difference in the game really was the pick as a runner. I think that's kind of got him. And it's tough, man. I mean, again, I was expecting Penn State, rematch in the fall, Big Ten, but yeah, it's what it is.
And like I texted you and I said, this is 3 years in a row that we've done this Ohio State versus Notre Dame game, and it seems like it's going to get better every single year. It's always fun. It's always a really tough game for both teams, and it's but we'll get into that here in a minute. So yeah, I'm excited for this.
So our next question, who would be the biggest X factor in this game? We look at the matchup, we look at the teams, because I mean, the game we have is what we have. Disappointment aside, like again, I wanted to see Penn State, but ultimately have Notre Dame, who is a great, great defense. I don't take anything away from them. It's a great defense. Props to them defensively. Who would be the X factors in this?
I think it's going to be Simon on the defense for Ohio State. I think he's going to end up spying. I think he's going to end up spying Riley Leonard, and just you bring the boom to him a couple times. I know Riley Leonard. They talked about it on the broadcast. He's more. Oh, that's a pick. No, it's not.
Um,
But he's more of a one read quarterback. If his read's not there, he's taking off and running. Ohio State kind of played a similar quarterback. Shoot. I'm trying to think of Oregon's quarterback's name right now. It's slipping my mind.
Diego.
Yeah, and he plays the same exact way, and they held him in check. So it's gonna be one of those games where defense has to stay sharp. There's gonna be a couple things that slip up, but I think Simon's gonna be able to spy him. He's gonna bring the boom a couple times, and it's gonna be that in the trenches. So, who you got?
So funny, man. Between us, yo, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Once again, you were in my notes, and funny. I talked about the linebackers for Ohio State. Texas A&M. It never fails, man. Whenever you and I link up these podcasts, it never fails.
Yeah.
But I think, and this is somewhat influenced by like my last week. So as you know, us both big Cowboys fans, we know it's time for the draft. So we're moving off the draft. And the first thing I looked at, the first player I looked at was actually Sonny Styles, which brought my attention to the linebackers for Ohio State. And Styles is a different kind of cat. Very fast, very quick, really as a tweener, linebacker safety.
Yep.
But that's what it is. I think that's the attraction right there for me is looking at what they have in stock with the speed. There's so much speed at the second level, so much athleticism at the second level. And right out of my notes, man, a spy. Just spying what's going on, looking at what's happening there. Keeping an eye on Leonard is a big deal. That's a very, very big deal. I
Hmm.
think that's key. And they're not going to just go straight up, blitz and go straight up man cut. They're going to go zone. They're going to drop in the zone, keep an eye on Leonard. And even Jeremiah Love, he's still a little bit hampered too. He's not healthy 100%. It's not like he's carrying your back. I think that's the biggest factor is those guys, those linemen. That's a big key. That's right. My take on this video. But that's a big part of my life. I think that's key. That's a big part. Who else I would say?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's a big part of what's happening. I think if the linebackers are kind of watching Leonard, keeping an eye on him, that'll change everything for them. I think that's the biggest part of having this weekend. But with as we talk about the X factors, you guys talk about who do you think is going to disappoint this week? Who is the unit or player most likely to disappoint?
Oh, so I mean, I know they held him in check last week because I think it's Jeremiah Smith, but it's Notre Dame plays mostly man coverage and Texas plays mostly zone, so they were able to put a guy on Jeremiah Smith, bracket him, double him all game, but they Notre Dame they live and die by man coverage, so it's gonna be I think it's Jeremiah Smith. You take him away. You have the other two receivers, and we've seen during these playoffs that they can go off when their number's called. So I think I mean just frankly it's the receiving core. Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, and it comes down to it. I think when I looked at this, like who's going to disappoint? It's for me. Like the first thing I said to myself was the front seven and Norman. And I think that's kind of what you're saying in the same vein. But to stop Ohio State, and this is so deep. Ohio State has so much they can throw at you. I mean, from all angles, from all types of players. So
Are
like
you
what we
kidding me?
talk about. Yeah, I'm up there. From all levels, like I can talk about, man, it's that they have a lot of depth. And I think for Notre Dame, to get, you got to give. And something has to give. And I think that's the biggest thing. It's the front seven, man. The front seven for Notre Dame, they're going to have to be a sacrifice, following the passing game, stopping Will Howard, and just living with trying to stop the run.
Yep.
And by proxy, that means that you're going to have to sacrifice the front seven. So knowing that having to stop Mecca Booth, having to stop Jeremiah Furno State, there's so much crap to deal with. And I think that's the hard part. That's the real challenge. So having to have the front seven do some sort of heavy lifting, I wouldn't be on that, man. If I was a fan of 49ers on that whatsoever. It's a lot of pressure. So I think what's going to ultimately happen is the front seven has to kind of give it away a little bit. Power cross, like push around somewhat. Gabriel this out, but again, having to hold it on their own and kind of play these like quality cover approach. Yeah, man, I think it's going to be really tough to stop them. Really tough to stop them.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to how many plays is Riley Leonard gonna make because you may stifle Ohio State's offense a couple times, but you're not gonna contain them. You know, they're gonna score points. We've seen it all year, and how it's like how many plays is he going to be able to make? Making chicken salad out of chicken shit. I mean, it's one of the it's going to be one of those games muddy in the middle, like you said. The big uglies. It comes down to what can Riley Leonard do.
Yeah, man. You know what? And I'll kind of call back to this point. At the end of the day, man, I just think that and this is why I've been kind of saying Penn State. I'm kind of deflated about Penn State not being here. The reason why is, and because I was saying Jay Howard, there's not enough weapons left. They don't have enough to kind of go back and forth. I don't think that they have enough to go back and forth with Ohio State.
Right.
There's so much talent and depth. Not, I mean, again, I think both defenses are pretty good. Thanks for the point. Um, ridiculous. I don't think that the defenses are far off. Like between the Ohio State defense and Notre Dame, they're not that far. There's plenty of talent. I have raved about Benjamin Morrison all season. I gave it a lot. Kaiser. Like I think that they have a very, very good defense. I'm not going
Yeah.
to say away from that. But offensively, you ain't got the dogs, man. You ain't got them.
Yeah.
You just don't have them. I mean, and I said Penn State had a shot because you can say, well, I have the quarterback, I have the running back, I have the tight end. It's hard to kind of get a beat on. That's fine. When I look at Notre Dame, I say, well, what is it that their best play offensively? It's Riley Leonard, man. It's Leonard.
Yeah.
Has been kind of crazy.
It really is. I know. I know they had that big that big touchdown pass last week. But I mean, not very often does. Okay, go. Not very often does a wide receiver knock two guys off their ankles. I think that number three for Penn State. I think he tripped over his own feet. And that game really busted that play really busted that game open, and really put Penn State on their heels. Like you said, it was I wanted that all Big Ten national championship, but it stinks that I'm not going to get it. But it's this is going to be an instant classic. You couldn't ask for better two blue blood colleges at it for the national championship in this one.
Nah, honestly, man, you can. And I think when you stack up everything, okay, well, whatever.
No.
I'm gonna do this. Oh, really? Well, this one little boy, hey, you want to quit?
No.
I'm
It
good.
asked me if I wanted to change my skill level, but I'm like, no.
Oh, dude, this
Well,
you're doing something.
I'm using remote play, so like my PlayStation's in the living room, and I'm playing it through my computer, so I have like a 1 second lag. You can tell by my kickoff. I would never be that bad at a kickoff, so
Oh,
it,
really?
it's got I got like a 1 second lag on everything, so it is what it is.
Gotcha, gotcha. Oh, that's fire, fire. I mean, nah, man. And when we reset everything, so this is those watching. We're probably gonna do probably this show, recap the national title, and then probably give it a bit of a break for the off season stuff like that. Um, but to be honest, man, when we recap, the season, everything kind of went the way it was supposed to go. I mean, like you're probably make a t-shirt out of this, but you always say that it always works itself out. No matter what happened, it'll always work itself out.
Yeah,
And we got that. I mean, we got that. I think there was a lot of like kind of indecision about like between some of the conferences. I know I talked to Jason Woods from University of Maryland. Maryland taking on these new transports. So some of the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, Oregon, who I think everyone kind of agreed universally that hey, they're built to handle that. They're built to handle it with what they have. They'll be fine as far as personnel to kind of fit into the Big Ten. Um, and I mean, it's so true. Teams like, for example, Colorado, no one really saw Arizona State coming from where they did, and they can still feel pretty good about themselves. I think we still have a little bit of turmoil there between Texas and Ohio State. Actually, Texas is kind of somewhat disappointed with how it ended. I think they expected a lot better than what they have, but they got a lot to look forward to also.
yeah,
Going into next year with Penn. So that's fine.
yeah.
Um,
So I mean, there's been a lot of talk about So we pretty much covered the national championship. Who we think everyone knows who I think's gonna win. But it's so there's been a lot of talk about changing the playoff stuff already. And I don't know if you've seen it. Joe Klatt, he actually modified it to like a 14 team playoff where only one team gets the bye, and then I think two through whatever. No, first two teams, one and two get the bye. Conference championship games really don't matter, and it was really good. I highly implore people to actually like look it up. But there's a lot of stuff like, hey, should they be in? Should they be in? A lot of people are, Ohio State and Ohio State, Notre Dame. They never would have made it in the final when it was 4 teams or the BCS and anything like that. But this is exactly what this was designed to do. These teams had a tough stretch of games where they just didn't play as themselves, and then they came alive, and we're gonna get a very good matchup here in the national championship. Records be damned, but the two best teams. I believe these are probably the two best teams in the country.
Are there? You know what's funny? Tell you what. Tell you what. I for a while I believe. Um, well, let me rephrase that. I have to change my stance. Because for a while I did think, and again I will stay by it. I'll say it downtown, but I do think was home state game. You know what? The team's great, but the funny is like how they had their bump develop right. They just lost to Michigan.
Hmm.
That was I thought Oregon was best in the country all season until they played you guys, and they got exposed. So I think that's all. Ah man,
I'll
my
decline that.
loss.
We're
I mean,
talking.
hey, up to you. um, but it's funny. Like I thought that up until they played you guys, I thought the best team in the country was Oregon, hands down. But you beat the brakes off.
Yeah.
So I think we still have a bit of a situation. There's some left unsaid.
Hmm.
I think even though like you guys are in there, you guys are probably the better team. Um, I don't think you guys have been the better team all season. It's not even that. It's that you have a good roster. You know what I'm saying? Like the roster is so good that that's the difference.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference. I mean, you guys have the most complete team in the country. So the best thing I do think is Ohio State. I mean, I do think that based on the roster, the dominance they've had against teams they played against, yeah, I mean, especially Oregon. I do think, but with how things broke down, you and I said this before. The biggest risk in all this, the biggest risk in all this was not allowing a team to have a home game in the second round
Hmm.
on neutral site. Because if Texas had to have a home game versus Arizona State, that would have been close. And respect to Arizona State, but it wouldn't. Or imagine Tennessee has to go to Boise. How does that turn out?
Right. Yeah.
So I think Clark on to something. I really do. Until you can see the system that allows the team to be in the second round is doing more. And we know why. It's money, right? It's all about sponsors and deals, these agreements with these winking odds. That's the big problem. So yeah, but who else? If not Notre Dame, to you, who else?
Right. So when it comes to the playoffs, like one of the big things for me is I loved the playoff on a college campus. You know, so like, if you start like, let's say you actually start the playoffs like the week after championship weekend, and then you're doing like game after game after game at other college campuses. I know that like screws up like you got your Tostitos Fiesta Bowl and it's always here. You got your game at the Mercedes Benz Dome. You got your Cotton Bowl. Like I don't care about that. I want to see these games. I want to see a team. Let's just say I want to see Georgia go up to Ann Arbor, you know, in the middle of December in a playoff environment, because we see these games happen, and it's always in the southern states. It's always in the domes in the South. Like let's expand on what was successful. Ohio State and Tennessee. That was crazy game. The atmosphere for all those games were absolutely insane. But it's that's what I want to see. I want to see more playoff college football atmosphere, in all aspects. Well, oh my God, but it's I want to see that all the way up until the national championship. Like even Joe Klatt, he said that. I'm a big fan of his, but he said the national championship should actually be the Rose Bowl, which I 100% agree with because
Thank you.
that moves everything, and that means January 1st you're done. That game's played on January 1st, and then you can do your transfer portals, your all your other stuff. And I just think that's what's best for college football. 'Cause
So
you can always expand on what's going on, but I just think like, we're moving into a time where we have these two huge conferences. We know they're going to dominate. You'll probably have 4 and 4, you know, in there all the time because they're just big schools. Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, maybe Washington sneaks back in, Penn State. All those teams are going to be up there eventually. And we say the same thing about the SEC. And you got the Notre Dame's always going to be the at-large team because they don't have a conference. But then you got your winner of your ACC, your Clemson and whatnot. But everyone wants to see like big game environment, and I think that makes bowl season a lot more fun too. It's just expand on what has worked. You've seen what has worked. Go ahead and expand on it, and the it there's no bounds to what can be had. I mean, this is a money machine, and don't put games on TNT. I mean, that sucks, dude.
but whatever. I mean, okay. So I'm a basketball dude, but I do think we were saying it's condensing what we have, and college football is great as far as the abundance. It's cool to tune in, and I'm gonna pass this point back in a second. But it's cool to tune in and from 12 on the East Coast to 1 a.m.
Yeah,
There's a game on. That's cool. That doesn't have to go away.
right.
However, what does have to go away, what really has to go away, is you have to condense conference calendar. If we learn this season they have no bearing, they have no weight, and they don't mean anything, they shouldn't exist.
Yeah,
They shouldn't continue. Like besides rivalries and saying, hey, I'm the conference champion, and the auto bids too. Like I know you hate the auto bids,
yeah.
big disdain for it.
Right.
It would eliminate a
Yeah. I
lot.
mean, Boise State. If you do go like that route, Boise State, and it would be fun for them to watch them, have a home game. But I don't think that team is worthy of that. There's plenty of other teams that are more worthy of that home game. But they have to fix the seating. The committee can't be selective on everything. They have to stick to something. And my big thing is go back to the BCS style. Use your computer algorithm, give you your best 12 teams, and then let it hash out from there. Stop trying to load a bracket a certain way. And because it kind of ruins everything.
And I think you're still trying to. You say all the time, man. You always say it's yeah, ESECCN. Time to appease the SEC. Didn't happen this time around to the extent you thought it could happen. I thought it was pretty fair. Um, but I do think you have to kind of remove that. And I think the more we get into this, into the BCS style, the conferences won't matter as much. If an at-large team wins a national title, like that's enough to us. That should be indicative of what's enough for what's going on. For a team like Notre Dame, that's to say enough. I think that's a big part of what's going on. I also think, man, things like letting teams get away with playing bums at the very end of the season, that could stop too. Like if the All-Star games were not that big of a deal, they weren't insider factors. It would alleviate a lot of that stuff people trying to add more extra fluff to the show. Like, oh,
Oh
add more
no.
fluff to their resume at the very end. I hate that. But it would add a lot of, it take away a lot of the fluffiness and the rest, and maybe get to the point where we have. I think down the line, man, you may even get to a point where you want to dissolve the conference as a whole. I think. I mean, they get the super conferences, and they want to dissolve conference as a whole, have these teams play with each other. Um, give it some weight, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, give it some real weight.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I'm not disappointed with what we got. It's pretty solid, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we got a lot of what we wanted. Um, I mean, props to everybody else, but I do think that the best team is the title. I don't know if it's the two best teams, but the best team I believe in my heart is the East. And that's what you want, man.
Yep. Oh,
Not to
good.
get killed here. I mean, that's all about that. That's the end goal, man. I just throw this out there. is there anybody necessarily that surprised you in the last? I guess even seeing them play in returning, anything that kind of caught you off guard.
Oh man, I left him wide. Nice. Say again. What'd you say?
Yeah, man. Watching these teams play in returning, did anybody see you stand out there? What players made open your eyes?
In this game in general, or like the whole season?
Well, the CFC
You said the season.
in the playoffs.
Oh, so the playoffs. I mean, it's um trying to think like a yeah, blue for Texas. I didn't know that kid had wheels. They scored on Ohio State twice on the same exact play. He burnt Sonny Styles, I think it was. Maybe it was Hancock. No, I think it's Sonny Styles. He burned him both times, and I was pretty impressed. But he's got some speed. Ohio State's got speedsters. I watched quite a bit of Texas games, but I really don't like pay that close attention to them. But they got some ballers on that team, and I'm not one to hate on Quinn Ewers. Well, I just ran right past you. I'm not one to hate on Quinn Ewers, but I mean Arch Manning could take that team to another level with being how multifaceted he is.
Well, I think the guy for me that stood out was Sam Levitt. I think Sam Levitt definitely stood out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that dude's got some moxie.
he does, and good and bad, maybe.
Yeah,
Depending on how frame it. Um, he's definitely a competitor. He demands a lot out of his guys. He's very demonstrative. So if you're messing up out there, he's going to know about it. But I didn't know how good he was. He's mobile. It's not like he wants to run and scramble for yards. He wants to run his best play, and I think that's a great characteristic about him. I do think Cam Catterbury was a great player. We talked about him month, like a month ago before the CFC. But Sam Levin, man, really stood out to me. Uh, I think whether he stays where he is, probably will stay here in the States. But
yeah,
if he were to leave somewhere,
yeah. I mean that's Dillingham's first year as a head coach. He's young. He's younger than me. And he turned that team was supposed to be the bottom team in the Big 12. And look at what they turn out and do. It was remarkable because we didn't talk about it because we skipped that last week. So I apologize. My son was in the hospital and whatnot, but it's that game. What really stood out was you know there's so much moxie for that team. And then Scatterboo, you like rise from the ashes. It's like one of those games where like people are like, is he okay? He's doing this with his head all the time, shaking his head. My wife was like, dude, is he okay? She's into this game, and I was like, yeah, I believe so. And then it just that team, they have some fire, and the Big 12. It's we don't know what Dion's doing for Colorado. We're kind of
yeah,
lacking on what's going on there. So I mean, in Utah should be back, but it's be really interesting to see what actually happens here. Oh, come on.
oh yeah, that could be a Um, so even then, as far as the movement goes, right? I kind of want to focus on coaches. I was kind of waiting to kind of expand into this. There's like a 7 hour game, but the coaches too, man, this season. There's been a lot from this. I talked to a lot of our followers on Twitter as well because they put a lot of stuff in our wheelhouse. And I think about new guys and new places. I think about
No, that's a
Brown,
bad throw. That's an interception.
that
I knew it as soon as I let go.
hater. Hey, one hour's a hater. Oh my goodness, man. When he has that one.
I knew that one as soon as I. Oh, yeah, I knew as soon as I let that one go. Get out of here, jet sweep. Get behind, lineman.
Okay. But I mean, I think about certain things like that, right? Like I think about like Graham Brown at Syracuse. They had a pretty good year, right? And I think the ACC is kind of like in a weird spot now. Miami's good, but Miami left a lot on the table. They fired their DC, that they moved on from him, which rightfully so. I mean, based on what happened, they had a lot of just too many tight calls, man. And the one that burned them, it's weird to imagine them not being in the playoffs all season. I mean, you have arguably the best quarterback in the country, um,
Yeah.
a pro receiver, maybe another pro running back in there too, and it's still not in the CFP, man. All because you lost to who did lose to?
They
Who was
lost
it?
to. Gosh, I am blanking on that one too. But it was
It,
it's not SMU, was
Louisville,
it? Was it
maybe?
SMU? No.
Louisville. Pitt. The Pitt. I'm
I
I'm also blanking too,
Yeah, I
man.
mean,
But
I'm blanking on that, but like you
but
said,
it
they
was
played so many
close
close
call.
games, and Cam had to play hero ball, like 95% of the time. So
Yeah. I mean, don't get it twisted, man. When we went into the, I think we went to our preview for the season. We were like, hey, people got to watch because when he had to step up. I mean, this is when the Pac-12 was still together, but he still going to get so many ranked teams in the conference. Teams like Oregon, Michigan State, Washington. He stepped up. So we knew he had it in him, obviously. There wasn't a question about it. But
right.
they thrust the entire thing on him. It just came crashing down. Them not being in there was crazy. Um, Even Kalen DeBear, man, in his first year at Alabama, it was a big change.
Oh yeah,
It was a
yeah.
big change. And maybe some culture issues, maybe a little bit. If you want to kind of look at
No.
it like that. Yeah, you're not getting away. Sorry, but I mean, again, maybe some culture issues. Mind you, Alabama had a lot of guys with Baden rolls out, a lot of guys fall to and did that as well. That made a big difference. Um, just a lot of things with the coaches. But even like Marcus Freeman, I know we talked about Marcus Freeman for a second, but he had a hot seat. And again, I think most of them lost to Northern Illinois.
Hmm.
But that was like a blip on the radar. At that point, they got very consistent. They got very hot down the stretch, and look where they are, man. And it makes you wonder. But around the time that the year comes to the NFL, talk about guys that leaving college pros into his own segment. I don't think Marcus is leaving, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think Marcus is going.
I mean, and you talk about Marcus Freeman, man. You talk about a man that took over a program after Brian Kelly. That program was, they were looking for answers. I mean, Brian Kelly, he was a good coach at Notre Dame, but to just up and leave them like that, and then you see how those players respond to such a good coach. I mean, that's like the true definition of a player's coach, and he just quick, do they have it? Do they have it? And then his third year, here they are in the national championship game. You know, hats off to him.
Yeah, and I think that the key is he's very relatable. Um, like, and that was the first thing I said about Marcus Freeman was they relate to him. The
No,
program. Uh, I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Um, the first thing I think that I said about Marcus Freeman is how much they relate to being a coach. They really the players they all kind of related to him, gravitated to him, and I think that's the biggest difference. Um, and I think they're going to be there in a very very good place. I mean, they always will be because of who they are. It's the Notre Dame. That won't be a question. Um, Even Ryan Day, you talk about Ryan Day as well, and I know there's a lot about Ryan. You had the rumors of Urban Meyer coming back.
yeah,
You had the lost mention.
yeah. I was,
Where he is.
I was on that fire Urban Day train. I would, no, Urban Day, geez, Ryan Day train. I was on that. But I gotta choke on my tongue on that one. He's turned that team around. It's been pretty nice. Oh
Man,
come on,
anything changes
oh
mind.
geez, oh Pete, that's a punt, on punt.
Man, don't fall back. Uh, would anything change your mind though on Ryan Day? I mean, I do believe they should smash and win on Monday with him, no problem. would anything change your mind to this point?
You say I changed my mind on Ryan Day?
Yeah, I mean, as far as would you go back on the better list thing?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
I mean,
you,
I just don't. I've always thought Ryan Day was a good coach. And but it's always
but
it's always that game. Like the big game, why you choking on it, and then if so you slide into the playoffs, and why does this team look completely different? It's like beyond me, like it's beyond comprehension. Like losing that game to Michigan, you could have lost like recruits. You know, it's you know a lot of kids will take that into consideration, and that with like NIL deal, but like the history of the school. But it's just like why does one team look so different than it does the next week? But they've really turned it on in this playoffs, and it's it's a credit to his coaching. It's a credit to Jim Knowles coaching, and it's a credit to Chip Kelly coaching. They have that dog mentality right now. You hear it in their press conferences, and it's like a completely different team than it's definitely a completely different team than the team we saw play Oregon in week 3 or whatever it was. Now it's I mean this team is humming. But we'll see if they got one more game. So we'll see. But I'm a firm believer in Ryan Day staying. For those people who are always like why would you just get rid of him? Who are you going to replace him with? There's nobody to replace him with. That you're not going to get a coach that has that good of a pedigree to coach at Ohio State because that's a pretty prestigious. It's a pretty. Are you kidding me?
geez, you are having a day to day with man. Wow.
Yeah, I mean everything is like a second. So like I'll hit my button and then it's like a second passes and then it passes the ball. So it's whatever. I don't care. Oh, you got the
So we got
ball?
some life.
Oh
Damn.
damn! I thought I recovered it.
Ah, this is um, um, yeah, yeah. I don't think anything he can do, man, to score. And to play, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here because gotta say this is a callback to season one.
Hmm.
Normally, when you're in on a coach, like you're really in on it, it typically does bottom out. He's on, RP Scott Frost or whatever.
Yeah,
But to play devil's advocate here, he's one bad kick away from making that.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I know it doesn't take much, but to be fair, he did what he was supposed to do to get him that win. And like so I don't really, not really fault him for that, man.
Come on.
Damn good. So I think it's a matter of the standard is high. Like at that school, the standard is insanely high for anybody.
Yeah, yep.
But as you said, I mean, who else, right? Like who else? Who would you bring in that could fit those shoes, and it wouldn't be anything crazy? It has to be a guy with plenty of
Right.
plenty of
There's no one, and that's why I kind of like cool off on it because you just there's no one to replace that, and there's a couple colleges like that. You think of like how long is Alabama gonna take not making it into the playoffs? How many losing seasons are gonna take before they push DeBoer out? Same thing with if Kirby Smart hasn't. I mean he's earned his place, but like how many years of leniency did these big programs, these coaches at big programs get? Especially with like it being 12 team points. My boy Simon. It's how many years of leniency, especially with the 12 team playoff, are these coaches going to get? Because it's getting few and far between with who's gonna be able to stay at a program. But I guess you don't see the like the Ross like the so like it like Lane Kiffin can always be replaced, and I can't stand Lane Kiffin. Oh, nice fake.
oh my god, throw the ball. Dang it. Ah, I had to go in there. Yeah, I mean, not even Lane Kiffin. Because we've seen guys that win and it's not enough. Like you can win, but it's not enough. And it's also based on what you bring as far as I do think a standard, right? Like
Yeah,
for example, we've had in the past. I mean, one example is Gus Malzahn
Yep.
wins at Auburn, and Auburn is not easy to win. I mean, you won because of Cam Newton, so I understand that.
Yep.
Gus Malzahn wins. I think within 3 or 4 years he was gone. And Ogeron won at LSU, and they were down for a long time. I mean, those things happening probably outside of the football field now, but um, teams like that with that standard, they're not going to win, and then they're not going to hold their hand. So while it's nice that Ryan Day is there, and again, this is assuming that he doesn't win on Monday. Again, I think that he will, but assuming that he doesn't win, how fast did he burn off that goodwill?
Right.
If he loses though, oh yeah,
But I mean the AD he already he's already came out and backed him 100%. So no matter what I think he's back. But
for how
I
long?
like you said I don't know like if you step on your dick again against Michigan it's like what like you said what is that leniency because this fan base like you said they can only take so much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he can piss it away by losing Monday. Like that's not gonna happen.
Right.
I mean, if he gets steamrolled, it's still not gonna happen this offseason. Now, I mean, if you start out kind of funny next season, I mean, you might have a conversation.
Yeah.
But I think even now that the roster is built up now, I don't think there's any prospect of losing anybody come on. I'm still not comfortable with
Dude,
losing
I'm
anybody.
ready. I want to take that deep shot, but your secondary's too good. You're playing off. Usually just get.
Wait, man.
Oh,
Nah,
I
man.
don't
Nah.
know.
So, yeah, man. Patty, we watching, man. What's up? I'm start over that loss against Kentucky. My
Oh, come
home
on.
team.
What?
I think that. I
Perfect
think it.
timing user. Zero again. I think that's three for him.
Swag, man. Kill you. Swag and swag, man. Swag and swag. But no, I mean, I think he's in a good spot. I mean, I think he did what he had to do. And yeah, not only the conference was disappointing, but I think the more we get out of this situation, it will minimize the impact of conferences and not winning those games. Because in the next title, no one's gonna go back and say, "Well, you know what? You lost to Michigan." Well, your fans might, but I honestly wouldn't care if that's what happened. I wouldn't. So I think that's an important thing. And what is the next phase too? I mean, you have a good crop of guys coming in. You have a good crop of your quarterback for next year. There's a lot going on. I think he's fine. Um, and we talk about him a lot, man. So I just want to know what is curiosity. What is the next action for Colorado? That's one of the part I think want to figure out as well.
Yeah. So it's where like you said. Whoa. What is the next step for them? Um, if Dion leaves, what happens? Like we just seen like he had that talk with Jerry Jones, and I believe he uses that talk as leverage to get more NIL money for Colorado. He goes to the AD and they tell him no. So it's like he's brought so much notoriety, so much attention, so much money to the school now, and then he makes like one simple request, and you just straight up tell him no. Like what is especially for his staff and like future players, like what does that do to like his psyche? And his kids aren't there anymore, so he's not actually like tied to it. But I don't think Dion is actually like ready to be an NFL coach yet. There's a lot that goes on there, but I think a lot of it is like it's different coaching, like a college kid versus a pro. And we saw it with Urban Meyer. He gets away in college for doing some not so good things to people, but he does in the pros and he gets ousted like right away. So
Yeah,
it's a different level. There are coaches that have done it. Pete Carroll, but he was in the league first, and then Bill Belichick's doing it the other way. But like Chip Kelly, he was a utter failure. But it's I'm curious to see what Colorado actually does. If they actually are able to build on, they need to get an offensive line like ASAP. That was bad. Like you said, they need to get an offensive line to protect a quarterback, and the defense is solid, but it's they have to build from the inside out. I think they have the playmakers, but they have to build from the big uglies out, and then they could potentially be like a dominating force within the Big 12. Dear Lord.
Uh, I mean, so I'm in the camp of they're insanely top. They're super top heavy.
Hmm.
And I don't think you've been able to recruit to the point of being able to replicate too well. Once you lose Shador, you lose Hunter. Um, and I think Stroud is a player. I think that's um, I don't think that the State's going to take that, right? And if Dion is gone, there really is no answer for him. Or actually, come on. Uh, uh, I mean, I don't think you can replace that. And once Dion's gone, it changes. Now I'm shocked that they told him no. He asked for more money, and look at what he's done. And again, this is all reported, so I don't know if he had the book to prove it. But if Dion has improved things like the graduation rate, the enrollment at the school, um, aside from the extra money being pumped into the school, if he's done all that, then Dion should have a blank check. Honestly, he should have a blank check. More so than anybody, more so than Coach Mack.
How do you throw the ball away?
This is
I have no idea how to throw the ball away.
I'll tell you, man. Right straight, you got to click down.
I,
That
I
was
I think
incredible.
I pressed like like I pushed the hit stick button and I have no idea how to just throw the ball away.
Yeah, you got to click
Luckily,
down.
I broke
Well,
that
you
tackle.
push the panic button too. You hit the panic button, man. Like I just might still play. But yeah, I mean that's another one we'll have with Colorado as well. I don't think he's going nowhere. Going to left side, but I'm not worried. Um,
Nope, that's
yeah,
intercepted. Dang it.
he got it.
That's
He's
gone. He's
gone.
gone.
Um,
Come on,
yeah, I mean,
Iboka.
oh my, he's walking him down. Oh my god. Oh man, he has to be a linebacker. Um, but yeah, I mean that's the one part what happens in Colorado. We've had movement too as far as coaches. I believe we had was it what school lost their OC? UNLV lost their OC.
Yeah.
Who became coach of Sacramento State. We had the quarterback from UNLV, um, Holy Cross UNLV. He got his NIL money. He's going to James Madison of all places. And I'm surprised that we were talking about this. What guys have not been coached to the NFL just yet? Like who could possibly leave? Because it always happens in every cycle. You see guys who've been pretty prominent guy who takes one stint in the NFL, goes to college, leaves college, goes back to the NFL. Liam Cohen, for example, right? Like the first time I heard Liam Cohen's name was on 360 podcast at Kentucky. That was the first time I heard about Liam Cohen, who was with the Rams, went to Kentucky, went back to the Rams, and is now in the room for head coach. So like it's not over yet, man. Like there's so much that can happen between now and the next few weeks. There's no telling what's going on, and we're not for the deadline for declarations yet either, are we?
Here we go.
It's not based a little bit. Uh, and I don't think we can make. We have the declaration to have it for that. I don't think it's official yet. So um, a lot can happen, man. Honestly, a lot can happen. So you know, it's still a lot to see what happens with these players. Who's going to commit? I know Alex said he'll come back. Pop. Oh man, man. Alex coming back for next season. Yours declared, so we know what's happening there
Yep.
as well. And that's awesome job, man. That's no question. I think even in your case, he didn't have much of a choice. I think he knows he has to commit. Like he's well aware. Okay, 2-1.
Uh,
Um, like he knew. And to be honest, man, this kind of shoots in the head. So you were to actually transfer instead of playing for the draft?
No. So Ewers, he went to he graduated high school early and went to Ohio State. He was stuck behind C.J. Stroud, and then he come on, get there. Yeah. And he Stroud beat him out, rightfully so, and he ended up
Mm-hmm.
transferring to Texas. Okay. Oh crap.
You got it.
I actually hit that in the red like on the way down. So when I hit the X button, it was actually in the red all the way at the very left. So
That's home juice, man. That could happen for me. That's home juice. Um, but he still would have had a year of eligibility
oh my
had he
gosh,
wanted to take it,
this
right?
is a penalty.
Oh man.
I did it again.
So whenever we're watching games, you guys in the group chat, this is what happens to me. You guys will react first. I'll see it after. That's like how it goes down. But yeah, so Quinn had the eligibility, right? He wanted to stay there another year or transfer somewhere else. He could have, right? He could have.
Right, but I just, I think it was right for him to leave. He could have went somewhere else. I don't know, but the college landscape, it's hard to build on. It's hard for any team to build, like you said, Carson Beck. He goes to Miami. Kyle McCord left Syracuse. I've been making the joke like whoever wants to transfer goes to Syracuse. Have the most prolific offense of all time. But it's yeah. I just think there's a lot of established players that I think they're ready to get their. Oh, it's gonna be picked. Not. Um,
So that was shocking. Kyle McCoy leaving. Um, so I'm surprised because I thought that him and Trent Brown had a really good, and I think that he was his guy. And not for nothing, man. I think Kyle actually kind of opened up a little bit as far as his actual skill level. I thought he got a lot better. I thought he was improving. So I'm surprised that he left. I really am shocked that he left. Um,
like the big thing with, geez, oh Pete, man, if I wasn't throwing interceptions, um, it's I think the big thing for McCord, he was a good quarterback at Ohio State, but I think the lights might have been a little too bright for him. But playing at Ohio State and then dropping down a level, I think that was like a godsend for him. Yeah, I'm not saying like a level, but we could say like the ACC is not
yeah.
on not on
Okay.
not on par with like the Big Ten. So it's dropping down a level, and he was cooking. Except for that game against Pitt where he had like 4 interceptions or 5 interceptions or whatever it was. But it was good to see him have a good season. But look where Will Howard is taking this Ohio State team. So I'm not upset about what transpired. At
No, no, man. And I think for Will, I mean, it's the best thing that could happen to him. Again, we're talking about they're going to win on Monday, but Will gets to kind of go out and get a chance to further himself.
right.
Um, and probably do his turn sales the next 2 years. Uh, exactly. Uh, but I mean, it's fine. And again,
Oh
I'm still
dear
a little
lord!
surprised.
I double tapped X because it lagged on the snap. Yes.
I can tell. I can tell. That was a deep ball right there. Uh, but nah, man, I mean, like I said, it definitely is. It makes sense for Quinn to declare not go to the program, not go to say, you know, yeah, Oregon or something like that or whatever, or Washington. Like it makes perfect sense.
Hmm.
Carson Beck is kind of a curveball for me, man.
Yeah, I
But
was.
that's
Yeah, I was surprised. A lot of. I don't know if Georgia ran him out of town. Some people say they did. Some people say they didn't. So it's. It was definitely. But then finding out that his girlfriend goes to Miami, that it makes all the sense in the world.
I mean, it does, but he's better than the Gunnar Stockton, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. He's
I
definitely better
mean,
than Gunnar Stockton.
like what? Oh crap! Like what is? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know, but you know what's funny is I know I talked about the receiving core at Georgia
Hmm.
last year, and I did feel as if they weren't as good. I felt like the talent in Georgia. and they've been just cranking these guys out like you wouldn't believe, like all day, every day. Like that's one thing I noticed. But yeah, I mean, Tom was lacking a little bit in Georgia. Maybe that's why he said, you know what, we need to get us out of here and start over. But that was a surprise game. Big surprise. I'm not calling you, man, but there's something to go for. Go figure. Go figure, man. On 4th and 17.
You're like stuck in no man land here. It says you're within range for Mitch Jeter. Oh, you're gonna punt?
Yeah,
It's
right.
14
Kidding me, this
seconds.
game? Are you kidding me? This game, you
Yeah,
got
try kicking field goals in Heisman from 50 plus. I don't think I've ever even attempted it.
man. Things are shaking like. Well, I'd rather not say. It's truly ever metaphor you want. But nah, man. I mean,
This game is
it's
not an
dude. I
indication
mean,
of what is going to happen. Just so, oh geez, oh, this game is not an indication of what's going to happen. So I'm going to say I think the point spread right now is Ohio State by 8. I say they win by 2 touchdowns. There's just
I think they're.
yeah.
I think like. I think like. Can't say that. Sorry. Yeah, not that one. He's the leg. Nah, man. I think just to recap. Part of my thoughts, man. I just think you guys have more. When I look at everything, you have more. And the second quarter was very good to you guys. Very good to you guys. You guys got your starting quarterback, your RB1, getting a recruit, a freshman recruit like Jeremiah Smith. I mean, he's not a portal kid, but still, that makes a big difference in the world. You
Mhm.
guys would have had a Premier League center as well. They
Mhm.
not got hurt. Um, that Cody Simon is a transfer, isn't he? I'm pretty sure.
Who'd you say?
Cody Simon is also a transfer, correct?
So I think the only transfers that we actually got were Caleb Downs was a transfer, and then McLaughlin, our center, who's out, he was a transfer. And Will Howard was the transfer, but I think Judkins. I think those four were the only transfers. So like when they say, and Kirk Herbstreit pointed this out. He said, when they say Ohio State assembled a team for $20 million, they only got 4 guys in. They paid the rest of the players on their team that they were already there. It's not like they weren't pulling what Oregon's doing right now and trying to poach people from different teams. Their 4 and 5 star recruits were there. They just paid them to stay there, and they brought in 4 starting guys that will eventually be NFL bound someday. But it's kind of a little fun note for the people who want to point and laugh at Ohio State for $20 million in NIL money.
Man, spend that paper, man.
Yeah, I mean you got it. So, yeah,
I mean, like I said, and it worked out, dude. So, whatever happens on Monday is what it is, man. But as promised, man, once the game goes final, sometime in the week, you and I will hop back on here, do a recap, kind of do our season finale of the podcast, and take a little hiatus. So, there's some shows here in between. But, my dude, sport is not indicative of Monday.
right,
Keep your
yeah.
fingers crossed. Anything you want to add, though, my dude?
I mean, like you said, this is not indicative. I'll get you back when I'm playing actually on the console. So, stay tuned for that for people of this podcast. But this was fun. Definitely different. Like it's like streaming, recording, doing all that stuff. It is different. Trying to make sure everything's going on at the same time. But it was fun. And I definitely got my butt kicked. So. I think 3-4 interceptions. So, but like I said, Ohio State, Notre Dame, 2 blue blood colleges. You can't get much better national championship game, and go Bucks.
All right, man, we'll keep it tuned, man. So, for my dude, Tyler Morgan, I, I guess good luck on Monday.
Yeah,
See what's up. I'm hating. Good luck on Monday. But for everybody listening, once again, hit the like button, hit the sub button for more vids like this. And this has been the Freshman 15 College Football Podcast. Peace.
peace.